is Action Sports Jags. Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys.
I'm at a loss for words right now, but we got to go back to work. Each game we lose is only a couple plays off, and we got to try to find those to make. And once we make them, the L will turn into a W.
I love the emotion.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Those who say, hey, they don't care. Listen to Arden Key after the game, after a disappointing loss to Denver and London on Sunday.
Yeah, if there's ever a soundbite that related to the fan base, that was it, right? Calvin Ridley's coming to Jacksonville, folks. He can come whenever he wants. He won't play until 2023. Jags make a big trade today, almost out of nowhere. We had forgotten about Calvin Ridley, and the Jags now have a big-time wide receiver for the 23 season in year 3 of the Trevor Lawrence era. Brent Martin along with Dan Hicken and Dan Arnold live at Sneakers in Jax Beach and live on Fox 30, of course. Hope you had a good Halloween, everybody. We moved to Tuesday edition because of Halloween and the long flight back from London. Still trying to recover, Dan Arnold. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That is a long flight, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, got about 2 hours of sleep on it, and that was about it.
We were 2-1 at one point, leading the AFC South. I would have never imagined what has happened. Is that the feeling in the locker room too? And how do you guard against, you just got to stay together to get out of it, I guess.
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing is just staying together.
Yeah.
We have all the pieces that we need to be successful in this league. And Doug, Coach Peterson is really just stick together, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there, and it'll be just fine. Like we have a good football team.
Yeah, I
and
know.
Other people in the league know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see signs of it. Just got to get over the hump. Get your first reaction. Did you see the trade today, Calvin Ridley? Obviously, we're telling you about it. You were a guy that got traded last year here to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
What do you think about Calvin Ridley as a football player?
Yeah, obviously, I played against him a couple times, just being with Carolina. Yeah, he's a good football player, really good deep threats. I mean, you can just toss the ball down there and say, hey, go run underneath it and grab it.
That's not a bad thing to have. There's other big trades around the NFL today.
10 trades today.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. The trade deadline got moved back, and now it feels more like the baseball deadline, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Jaguars, by the way, only giving up a couple of picks, a 5th next year for Ridley, and anywhere from a 2nd to a 4th in 2024, depending on his performance. T.J. Hawkinson goes to the Vikings, Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins, Chase Claypool to the Bears, and Nyheim Hines from the Colts to the Bills. What is this day like for a player? I mean, do you start to wonder, am I going to be on the move? Should I pack my bags? What is it like?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty stressful for players around the league. But you kind of just trust, where your story has led you so far, and you just kind of let everything calm down in your mind, and whatever happens is going to happen for a reason. So.
We've been talking to you all year, and you've talked a lot and obviously know Trevor Lawrence extremely well. How does one guard against losing one's confidence if you're a quarterback in the NFL and you're young and you're making mistakes? How does that – it has to be – I talked to Brent about this the other day. In any job, if you're a lawyer and you lose your first 2 cases, you might get shaken a little bit. I would think that would be natural. Is it up to you guys to try to keep him going as well?
Yeah. And I came right up to him after that last drive in the game, and I told him, hey, don't let what happened now affect what player you're going to be in the future. Mm-hmm. You led us on a drive just before that to go up and win the game. And, don't forget that you did that already, and that's the player that you are. That's the person that you know you're going to be. And his confidence is going to be just fine. I believe in him. And I think one of the things that I saw in the locker room more than anything was guys going up to him being like, hey, you're a guy.
Okay.
You're a guy, and we believe in you more than anything. We love you, and let's just move on from this, learn from it, and go win some football games after this.
You've been around the league for a bit now. You like this kid. I mean, you like the talent. I mean, what gives you the confidence that he is going to be a big-time player for this franchise and in this league?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's his smarts, his preparation, and his attention to detail are kind of uncanny for other quarterbacks that I've seen, especially young ones. He's got those pieces of Drew Brees where it's he is detailed on everything. He's staying at the facility until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, going over game plans, watching film. And that's something that you don't necessarily see in some young guys. And it gives you promise. It gives you all the confidence that he knows what he's going to do. It's just, hey, let's go out there and do it and have success.
He's coming off a tough outing, but overall, his numbers are better than they were a year ago. It's just that, and you know this, you have a different story to tell, but when you're the first overall pick, they're expecting, and they being everyone, expecting unbelievable things from you, fairly or not fairly. And we're looking at Trevor in the red zone and some of the numbers so far, Brent.
Yeah, and young players struggle, young quarterbacks struggle in the red zone. It's usually one of the last things that they kind of command, even the good ones.
Yeah.
That's at least what I've been told. But that's a tough area, and right now that's where we're seeing some of the mistakes. And really, you guys are costing yourselves games in the red zone right now. Is that how you look at it?
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to, scheme is gonna get you to the red zone, and
right.
I think the players are the guys that get you into the red zone. I think all of us collectively just need to start helping Trevor out more in the red zone and find a way to get into the red zone. It's kind of one of those things that's all about us, and you can't really pin it on one person alone, and you just got to all collectively move forward and say, hey, we got to get in the red zone.
We all look at red zone numbers. Is it just tougher because it's condensed? Is that the main reason why it's tougher to score from the 10-yard line on first and goal versus, hitting a big play from the 30?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the field you're seeing different types of defenses, and then once you get in the red, you start seeing D-line drops and, drop 9 defenses and
right.
just weird, unique things that you don't necessarily see a lot, especially in the NFL, because defensive coordinators are really good at finding ways to be like, okay, we got to shut down the pass, also shut down the run.
Right.
How do we do that? And you have these unique looks, something that you don't necessarily always see out in the field that you just got to learn, and more reps are going to make it better.
Yeah, and sometimes mistakes make you better as long as you flip it around eventually, and that's part of our game plan tonight.
It's time for the game plan, sponsored by TIAA Bank.
This is a key drive right here.
Well, Dan, I think it's simply this. Somebody's got to make a play to win a football game. I mean, they've come close. They'd make a lot of plays in the game, but then give up that big, long play, and, Russell Wilson and company made the winning play, right?
Right.
The Jags need to make a play in crunch time or to finish off a game, and they're yet to do that. In the close games, they can't do that.
Yeah, and I don't know, Dan, some will say that's something that has to be learned for a young team, but, all you guys have had success at every level. That's why you're in the NFL, so I wonder if is there some truth to that, do you think, or is it's just not quite happening yet?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of one of those things where you start chipping away at that rock, and one stroke leads to another, and then, hey, let's just eventually break through and split that rock in whole once. And then once you finally do that, you really build the confidence to be able to do it continuously and continuously.
Well, take a look at the wall that says it all. It shows the Jags schedule again, 2-1 early this season in blowout fashion, and then since that Eagles game, and there are certainly plays in every single game. We all know about them now. They're talking 3 or 4 plays from the Jags sitting at 5-3,
right,
or 4-4, and being right in the middle of this thing. Now they're chasing uphill. And part of that, Dan, is they've lost 3 double-digit leads this year. Jags have led, in every game. They've scored first in every game but one.
You guys are the best first quarter team I've ever seen.
But that's good. Everybody, used to be around here, we talk about start fast,
I'm watching Sunday, and I'm like, oh, man, they got a little extra juice today. But then I think, wait, you do that every week. It's unbelievable. But it's the NFL. It's 60 minutes. They get paid too. And, they make adjustments. You make adjustments. And in the end, it's, like you said, the NFL, close games, and making the play at the end is what matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we just, as you go along the game, you just kind of build confidence with one another, and it'll all be fine.
How do I get you the ball more? I know you got a lot of weapons, but I kind of thought going into this year, when I saw you play last year, I saw this is a fast guy that was a matchup problem.
Yeah.
Is there just not enough footballs to go around for you right now? Every time you do touch it, it's a pretty effective play this year, but you got to be very patient right now because you're not getting it a lot.
Yeah, I think, and that was one of the things that we all kind of noticed early on in camp. It's like, wow, we got a lot of really great players on this offense. And I think the most important thing for me is just being the best teammate that I can to each and every one of those guys. And, the footballs will come. It is what it is. But we're looking for wins more than anything else together. And Trust me, that's the stat that I care about more than anything.
We know that. We know that for sure. Let's check out one of the big plays on the defensive side of things from Sunday in London.
Power Play of the Week, sponsored by IBEW Local 177, powering Jacksonville since 1912.
Well, Dan and Dan, this guy's good.
Yeah. He is making some plays, and he's just in his second year, and he's growing, and Tyson Campbell has the chance to be a big-time corner in the NFL, don't you think, Dan?
Yes. It's funny because I was actually literally talking to Luke Farrell about him on the sideline when he had that pick. And honestly, it's his ball skills, but more importantly, his tackling. He is one of the best tackling corners I have ever seen play in the National Football League.
Wow.
And that is something that you love out there, especially as a defensive coordinator.
And you know what's amazing is that him and Patrick Surtain played on the same high school team.
Yeah.
Imagine being some little high school quarterback going up playing against those two.
And also,
Coach, we need to run this week.
there are a lot of guys on that outside that don't want to tackle.
Yeah.
So to your point,
Absolutely, and it's just one more guy that's coming in, trying to get balls out, be destructive, and that's how you really build a great defense. You have guys like that, and give an example to other players that come in, and it's like, hey, this is how we play Jacksonville defense around here.
yeah, he's on the verge of, I think, maybe being elite.
Yeah.
Maybe not yet, but on the verge
Getting
of
there.
When a team needs you, you make those plays, and I feel like throughout the game, I just kept getting better and better at just getting in that zone.
That's Travis Etienne. What a big-time day. 156 yards for the Jaguars, second-year running back out of Clemson. We're live at Sneakers here in Jax Beach on a Tuesday night edition on CBS 47, by the way. I was thinking we're on Fox 30. We've got the World Series on Fox 30.
Oh, yeah.
You can watch that at 8 o'clock tonight, and it's good to be back at the beach. Brent Martineau, Dan Hicken, and Dan Arnold. Dan and Dan here on the show. And let's get to our drive of the day because it was one that took the lead in the fourth quarter.
The Drive of the Day, driven by your local Ford dealers.
Absolute stud.
You know, the defense has gotten 3 straight stops.
Yeah.
And then the Jags finally got the ball back here. Trevor made a nice throw here, Dan, and this was one where, hey, we got to score now, and you guys were able to.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was kind of like what I alluded to earlier with how, like, he made this great drive to go before this. Like, you can't ever forget that.
How about Travis Etienne? How special was that the other day?
I love this kid so much. Let me tell you what. He plays hard. He runs the football hard. And I go up to him before every game. I'm like, just keep being you, man. Keep being you.
He does run hard, man.
Special.
Between the he's not the biggest cat in the world, but he goes up between those tackles, takes some shots, and keeps going.
He'll make you feel him. He'll make you feel him.
And he plays with a smile, too, man, all the time, doesn't he? It seems like he's always smiling, at least when we see him. Check out the injury report around the league. Again, the Jags could remain healthy. Other teams, maybe not so much, and that includes Cooper Kupp now on the injury report for a Rams team that, coming off a Super Bowl, does not look as good as they certainly did last year. Let's bring in Action News Jax's Olivia Tasley. She has more on the injury report.
This injury report is brought to you by Flagler Health, orthopedic specialists.
One of the biggest injuries from Sunday came in a California battle when Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp was tackled in the game against the 49ers. Late in the fourth quarter, Kupp left the field with an ankle injury. On Monday, head coach Sean McVay said his wide receiver had lateral soft tissue swelling. I spoke with our doctor over at Flagler Health Plus about the ligaments damaged and how bad it could have been for Kupp.
So the ankle has many ligaments in it as well, just like the knee. So there's the lateral ligaments of the ankle, which is the outside. There's a few ligaments out there. And when you roll your ankle, which I'm sure everybody has done, you damage those ligaments. And there's again grades 1, 2, and 3 for that. Grade 3 is more severe than grade 1, and usually you're okay with some physical therapy and things like that before you return to your sports. Sometimes there is a surgery that you can do to repair those ligaments if the ankle does still feel unstable.
By avoiding all structural damage, there won't be any significant time lost for Kupp. He's expected to be back on the field in Sunday's game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In the studio for Action Sports Jax, I'm Olivia Tasley.
Hey, we go sunshine and rainbows each and every week here on Jags Report Live. That's my club. It's got not a lot of membership in the last couple of weeks. So I said, oh, really, Liv came up with this. How about Travis Etienne all over the wall that says it all?
Well, I will say this, and I'll get Dan's opinion real quick, but the offensive line has played good football for this team. That group has played well. Trevor's only been sacked a dozen times.
Yeah. Definitely, like adding Brandon Sheriff to the offensive line in the offseason has really brought those guys together.
Yeah.
And we hang out all the time, tight ends and offensive line. We're a close-knit group, and I think it really translates well to the field, very much so.
And they didn't trade anyone away today, and that offensive line topic leads us into this.
It's time for What Floored Us, sponsored by North Florida Epoxy Floors.
Yeah, the offensive line, a big part of this, Dan. Everybody complained early in the season about running the football.
Yeah.
The Jags are 11th in the league in rushing attempts per game, top half of the league. They're 7th overall in rushing.
Good stuff.
So I guess Doug doesn't have to answer many more questions about running the football, at least for now. Hey, good work. Get a W this week, will you?
Yeah. I will.
Lift our spirits.
We will.
Lift us all up. Go play. And tell them to throw you the football more.
Throw the ball to Dan, Doug.
Come on, Doug. We won't ask him any more about running. We'll ask him about throwing it to Dan. Thanks for coming on the show, Dan Arnold. We'll see you again next Monday night here at